Hi everybody, my name is Taylor Green. I'm one of the audiologists here at Audiology Associates.
Hello everyone, lovely to meet you. My name is Katie Watkins and I'm one of the trainee hearing care assistants here at Audiology Associates.
Oh, that was fab, that was fab.
A little bit of a stutter.
This is completely different because you can see it's, I am not Reese Barber, which is really weird because it's the first time I've ever sat at this side as well. So you've got two patients in this one, both are myself. This first one you can see it's a very kind of like squishy, gluey type of wax. It can be quite tricky ones to remove. You are going to see a lot more of Katie in the future with the videos. Obviously, when Katie's fully up and running and she's doing her own clinics. We're not quite there yet.
No, not yet.
We're nearly there.
Not yet.
We're nearly there. So this is the standard size Zollner tube. Now, it's not completely chock-a-block in here. I mean, it looks really, really full. But you can see just up to the top left-hand side there is a little gap in this one. So what we're trying to do here is we're gently just trying to peel this wax off the ear canal. Because what that usually does is kind of, well, just loosens it up. So usually the plug comes out in
it looks like it's kind of been compacted, hasn't it? Something has been...
Yeah. It's a bit of a strain because you can see as that started to peel away, you can see the eardrum in the distance already. Patient's already feeling so much better. Trying to tidy up some of these last little bits. Reese hasn't finished working here, mind, just to let you know. It's just he's kind of threw us under the bus this morning. He's literally sat in the background there, just laughing at us. But yeah, so. The next one I think is going to be me and Katie as well. Yeah, next one's going to be me and Katie as well. Obviously Reese will be back, so don't panic, he hasn't finished altogether. So yeah, that's come away quite nicely. Quite a tricky one this, because I think there was a tiny little patch I couldn't quite get away, which we tried to clear as much as we can.
Was that because it was too close to the eardrum, or was it just...
It's not really, because we can still remove it if it's on the eardrum or near the eardrum, like what this is. It's pretty much on the ear canal, but it's like a little patch of dry skin, and it's very, very sensitive in this area.
Okay.
It's the bony portion of the ear canal.
So if you try and get at it, then you don't want to irritate the skin then for no reason if it's not going to cause any issues. Yeah.
So we generally just tend to recommend a little bit of olive oil, just to soften these little bits up. Like that little bit in the top right hand corner there, that's the bit I struggled to get away. I didn't want to make it uncomfortable for the patient, because I think this might actually be their first time for wax removal as well.
What's that dark little bit you're removing there then? Is that a hair, or is that just
that's just a bit of wax.
Wax.
Just a bit of wax I've stuck there. Again, can be really tricky. You're trying to kind of hover without touching the ear canal.
Yeah.
Because you can normally tell straight away as soon as you touch the ear canal in this area. It tends to, it feels like a bit of a pinch is the only way you can describe it if you do get a little bit of a touch.
Okay.
There we are. Like that's what I was waiting for then, was that little grip. So I do take another sort of second look at this one. I thought, is this going to come away nicely? Because that first patch did come away okay, but this one looks a little bit more on the dry side. You can see I'm trying to peel. It's really awkward. It does start to go.
You can see it's very stuck, very thin.
But I can't really go much closer, because if I do, I'm going to end up touching that ear canal, and it's going to cause a bit of discomfort.
And that would just make the patient just like...
Yeah, like flinch.
Flinch, that's the word.
Looking at how, how close we work into the eardrum. We can't really, I don't really want to risk it, to be honest. Any little flinch, which is, when you're in those kind of areas, which is why holding your brace is like super important, because you can't just go in there like freehand, because as soon as someone flinches, and if they, very unlikely for them to move towards you if there is a flinch. It's generally in the opposite direction, but you never know. Someone might actually kind of go, oh, and
I suppose if you don't brace as well, you're going to get that shaky hand in you, and then.
I've been quite shaky anyway a lot of the time, because I'm my arms are just I don't know, they're not as steady as what they used to be. I don't know whether the iPhones are getting heavier now as they're coming out.
Or the weights are getting heavier in the gym.
Well, yeah, that's true, yeah. But this one's come away really easy. This one's come away quite nicely. Luckily, there's nothing stuck down where the eardrum is.
Yeah.
So we would have advised, regular follow-ups, regular visits once a year, roughly, for this patient. So what we've got just over 1 centimetre there, and that's what, half an inch.
Yeah. So going back to when you mentioned the olive oil, would that have to be a medical type of olive oil, or can the patient use any?
Yeah, we'd recommend the medical grade, which it comes in little bottles. You can get them in medication aisles in big supermarkets. You can get them in pharmacies. You can buy them from places like us. Anywhere that does anything medical, basically.
Yeah, okay,
It's filtered several times, I believe, is the reason why they are for the ears specifically.
Okay.
Because if you just use general cooking oil, it's going to put you at a significant risk of infection. So try not to just use any old oil in there. Now this was a patient from myself from this morning. It is a little bit of a messy one, but we put it in there anyway. So I got the standard size ulnar tube. Now, patient has mentioned there was a little bit of, not much, but there was a little bit of tinnitus after the ears started getting blocked up.
Okay.
So a lot of the time you generally will tend to find, if patients come through and they've had a bit of a blockage of wax, it can sometimes kind of give the onset of a little bit of like a noise. They'll mention a noise. It's usually like a humming or like a hissing is what you normally tend to get.
Yeah.
So I thought, it could be the wax. So I didn't want to, obviously, go in and be in there too long with the suction, risking making it worse. But the reason this one is a little bit messy is I do swap down to a fine end when we get to these little tiny bits here. But you can just see there's a lot of like dead skin, little tiny bits that are kind of hanging off. And they make a horrible noise, and I think it happened there, which is why I came straight.
When it comes up with the suction.
So we call it clarinetting.
Okay.
And you've probably heard us.
Yeah, I haven't quite picked up the terminology yet. I'm getting there.
As well as teaching everybody else, we're in the middle of teaching yourself as well. This is the reason why I've kind of gone in with a forceps here. I want to try and break this little bit of skin away at the bottom and hopefully peel it all away if I can.
Yeah.
But I don't think it quite happens. I just break the end of it off. But that should then significantly reduce us having any more clarinetting.
Okay.
It's horrendous. It's loud for the patient and it's loud for us as well because we are obviously right next to the ear canal.
Yeah, so when you said that the patient had possibly tinnitus, if it was, or possibly the wax, if it was tinnitus, would this removal then get rid of that ringing tinnitus if they had any? If
it's to do with the blockage, it can.
Okay.
It is possible that they'll no longer hear that noise.
Yeah.
But again, tinnitus is a bit of a tricky subject with audiology.
Yeah.
There's many different reasons you can get tinnitus. But if it's to do with wax, then generally clearing the blockage will.
Yeah, so it's not a definite. So.
No. Again, we get a lot of. Patients that have worked in noise in the past, loud factories. We get a lot of patients that have been in the army, and it's
or people who love festivals, loud music.
And that's it, yeah. So we might clear the blockage, and they might say, "Oh, I can still hear the tinnitus." So, it's not always guaranteed. They don't do my legs all over the shop. It's. Like I say, it is a little bit of a messy one, and I have advised this patient come back in about 6 months because I think they actually only came to us about 8 months ago before this. Before this visit today.
That's just quite a short amount of time then for that blockage to build up.
Yeah, it's. You again, this is something that you will see quite regularly as well. We get a lot of patients that are coming through quite regular. Skin. Ooh. Just a bit of a ball and chain on that one then. Skin generally tends to accumulate quicker than wax, we generally tend to find. I mean, that's me personally. I don't know if that's, if that's something that, or, any other provider or, audiologist tends to find, but I personally tend to find skin generally tends to build up quicker.
Okay.
It's basically what we're removing here is just a lot of dead skin.
And then is that like sometimes the patient can then get a bit, not confused, but think it's a lot of wax in the ear, but is the skin building up generally?
Yeah. You'll find it more often with patients with eczema.
Okay.
Or psoriasis, because that can affect the ears quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
Patients that do really struggle with that type of skin condition will generally tend to more than likely need to get them cleared around once every 3 to 6 months.
Okay,
anyway.
so if it is skin, like, does that cause any symptoms, like any itchiness or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Itching, obviously can be hearing loss related as well.
Yeah.
This again, this is the fine end. These little bits of skin there, they can be a bit of a nightmare, and because of the noise that they can make, I'm not actually concerned. So there'll be a lot of people that will say, "Oh, why didn't you just fully clear out the ear?"
Yeah.
We don't have to. It's we can see the eardrum. We've cleared the blockage. We've fixed the problem of the hearing.
Yeah.
That's the main objective.
And don't cause no clarinetting.
It's one of those things, unfortunately, it is an area where you can't help it.
Yeah.
Because you might have a really good grip, and then as soon as a little tiny bit kind of breaks off in the suction tube, it'll just make that really loud whistling noise. I really hope I don't mess this little bit up now, because we're right at the end of the video, but this is the first time I'll be doing it in this order as well. Thank you for watching the video today, guys, and I know Reese normally always does this, but don't forget, you can always like, you can share, you can follow, and you can subscribe. It doesn't cost you a penny. But if you are interested in watching more videos, we obviously have a membership channel as well, which obviously we greatly appreciate anyone joining. You'll get more videos from myself and Reese and Katie. Yeah, don't forget, here we go. Don't forget to take care of yourselves.
Take care of your ears.
And take care of one another, and we shall see you on the next video. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.